What kind of reputation do you have? I mean, in general, we can't please everyone. We know that, certainly. But in general, what kind of reputation do you have? Do people know you as an honorable person? Do people know you as a friendly person? Are you stuck up or conceited? When we look at the book of Ruth, many of the preconceptions about people are really flipped upside down. We already saw at the beginning of Ruth how the husband and the sons were named and ironically named, and now we see the Moabite woman Ruth doing the things that the Israelites were supposed to do. Welcome to Walking Through the Word. For today, we're in Ruth chapter 2 still, and yesterday we looked at the character of Boaz, and today we're going to examine Ruth a little bit more, the character of Ruth, not just the book, because she does everything in contrast to what people would expect of her. Now, remember at the beginning of our conversations, we talked about the Moabites. And the Moabites were not, they're not in God's favor. They are considered outcast children forever and ever. And so when you look at the book of Ruth, you can't help but recognize the stark contrast that Ruth is compared to her people's namesake. So Ruth has a lot to overcome when it comes down to it. It's like about family names and those kinds of, oh, you're so-and-so's son, and those kind of things. For the record, my parents are great. But, it's one of those things where you look at it and you go, man, what the reputation that she had to overcome. But not only that, but what begins to form about her is an incredible thing. As we see in Ruth chapter 2, verse 11, Boaz has heard about her already. I have been told all about what you have done for your mother-in-law since the death of your husband, how you left your father and mother and your homeland and came to live with a people you did not know before. See, Ruth didn't have to do this. In fact, most people would have expected the Moabite to just abandon. Say, you know what? Your family's dead. You've got no shot. I'm young. I'm beautiful. I'm going to go get married again. And yet Ruth defies the expectations of the Moabites time and time again. And Ruth even recognizes this. I mean, in verse 10 previously, she asks Boaz, why are you being so nice to me? I'm a foreigner. Remember, she's detestable. Not just slightly detestable, incredibly detestable. Yet Ruth's faithfulness continues to overcome these reputations time and time again. This is really a beautiful story, and it's something that we need to pay attention to when it comes to the grace of God. See, God's grace doesn't just fall on the people that we expect them to fall on. I mean, think about it. If you're a good person that does good things, you would expect God's grace to fall on you. But if you're a bad person, why would grace fall on you? That's the world's definition of grace. They would also call it karma. Yet God's grace falls on all of us equally. We know that God loved the world, we read in the New Testament. It wasn't just God so loves the world of people that he liked. It was the world as in all of humanity. He loves his creation. That doesn't mean that he's not saddened by our choices, but the opportunity for grace is still available to all. Now, there are obviously many people who choose not to acknowledge that grace, but that doesn't change God's willingness to offer that grace to everyone. But we see here that what Ruth is doing is setting the stage for what's going to be the purpose of the Messiah. Remember, all the way back in the promise of Abraham was shown that his offspring was going to be the light for the world. Now, the Jews oftentimes forgot this aspect of it. They knew they were God's chosen people, and yet so often or not, they would look at others and go, you don't count. You aren't special enough. You aren't good enough. They forgot that God loved the world. And so what we see here is God reminding and setting the stage for this. Now, Boaz's ancestors, we're going to talk about those in the coming days to help us recognize how far God's grace really shows. But as we see this, and as we see the reputation of Ruth continue to grow, and as we see the character of Boaz come out even more, we need to understand and not take for granted the irony of what we see here. Not take for granted the contrast between those people who are supposed to be following God, The Israelites, remember, this is during the time of the judges. They're doing whatever the heck they want. They're acting like spoiled rich kids, okay? Ruth is doing something completely opposite of what one would expect. So as you read this, don't let go of that. Read that in light of this. So when she says, why are you paying attention because I'm a foreigner? And when you see her reputation that precedes her, recognize that what God is doing is far beyond the conventions of what we would expect.